Oh, how to put into words. And where to speak from. To speak from this mundane persona, or from this deeper, more expansive place. I have this awareness of both, or even more than just two places to speak from. I've been working on integrating and blending these various perspectives. I think it's a flowing, just like we like to move around the world and see different sights. We like to read stories or watch movies about different characters and put ourselves in different situations. And there's something very amazing about the complexity of the mind and the web work that we create or identify with. You see, my mundane identity is actually becoming quite focused. And that feels good. It's within this context, though, of when there's this awareness that there may be no future, and I mean that in just this reductive way of explaining something. There's this feeling of something making plans seem ridiculous. Then there's this emphasis on just enjoying the present. Just being fully present. And for me, that means just doing things, getting into things that I'm doing. Even if it's not going to result in anything important or anything like that. Just do something, just be present. And there's a reward in just being present. As doing these videos demands of me. That's what I'm asking of myself. Is being present, not contrived, not having this agenda, especially the agenda. The agenda is not about impressing anybody or monetization or following or business or any of that. It's just showing up and being authentic. And the recording allows me to examine myself and how well I think I've done with that. And already I've noticed there's an effect in doing that I like. There's an increased self-awareness. And interestingly, just a few hours ago, less than that, while I was really fully present, doing some wiring on my vehicle, I had this deja vu experience that I have had many times in my life. From when I was a kid, it used to happen a lot when I was younger. It happens less frequently now. It's this wave of precognition, of just a few moments of a feeling, and it's a remembering of that moment that I've already seen before, but it's also accompanied by an awareness. And it's like a marker of something important. And the important thing is not the recognition of what's going on around me. It's of the feeling. So the feeling that accompanies it. And the feeling is of this shortness of time, of this approaching wave of change. And with that, I feel this immediacy, this kind of urgency. I've been feeling this urgency, but this feeling was actually an affirmation. It's not even the right word. It was an emphasis on the importance of finding that eye of the tornado, that center of calm, that focus can provide for us. That focus of being fully present. Because that's where our power is. Our power is in the present moment. And when we are present, then we have access to that power. And the power is truly unlimited. It's not our intellect that's guiding it. It's something much deeper. Spirit. It's our wiser self. It's our soul. And we need to trust it, rely on it, to provide what we need in the moment. I feel quite certain that we are going to be faced with such waves of change that any of the things that we've depended upon outside of ourselves to give us any sense of peace or safety or security is going to be either utterly destroyed or severely destabilized. There's something profound that's going on that is also very complex, very difficult, I think, for the human mind to understand, because it involves broad timescales and multidimensional arrangements. There's this sorting. The earth is contaminated with a lot of evil. And it's gotten to such a point where there is an intervention required. Who exactly is doing this intervention? I don't know. But ultimately, it's the divine. It's God. So that's who we need to lean into. And I'm not one for religion, because religion is man-made. It's merely an attempt to explain what is surely unexplainable. I think it's useful for those who haven't learned how to tune into spirit and get their own inner direction. But then again, that becomes a crutch in a way to control other people. So I think that's why inevitably all religions fail and people are left to their own devices. And that's why the dark night of the soul, that's why tribulation is necessary, so that people eventually tap into their own inner resources. And this is what we're faced with collectively right now, or ramping up. I feel like I've been preparing for this for a very long time, and now when it's arriving, I do feel some peace about it. I do feel some confirmation that I was right all along. When I felt so doubtful, I'm not sure I felt doubtful, but I felt some doubt, because all I had to go on was intuition and faith in my intuition, and finding some confirmation in the world. But those are conspiracy theories or far out woo-woo things. And most of the world seemed to not bat an eye to the things that I thought were horrific and evil and dysfunctional. So I felt alone in all that for a long time. I know there's lots of people that have been in a similar boat. And I think that we are strong individuals, and this has been part of our testing and education as well. And more and more I'm embracing that. More and more I'm embracing that this has been a necessary trial and tribulation and hardship, but that things are going to be righted. There's going to be a balancing, an atonement. There's going to be a healing. I personally really want to extend that feeling of faith, which is where I'm at now, to other people who've been hurting as I have for a long time. And who have felt this inevitability and yet waiting. And I think the reason is because we do need to find it within ourselves. That's the whole point. The evil ones, and I think essentially we're all capable of evil, but it comes down to choice. This is a world of choice. And the proof is in the pudding, as they say. Ultimately, you know within yourself, when you're honest, who you are. There's a lot of people who have been cutting off that intuition that the heart provides. They've shut down their heart so that they could gain power in the world. That was the choice that they've made. And that's the definition of evil. Because the heart connects us with all other beings. And the world has lied to us. Those people in places of power for a long time have been lying to us and our parents and our grandparents and our great-grandparents. Been gaslighting us. Been selling us the truth. And some people have bought into it, and some people have not. And there is a final judgment. I mean, I think after every life there is an assessment where we need to atone. We need to weigh our heart against a feather and see, how black it's become, how hardened it's become. How much of our soul have we traded for this illusion of power. And as I've said previously, I feel this great sadness for people who, for whatever reason, chose badly. I think that I have this tremendous capacity for empathy and an ability to put myself in other contexts, other perspectives, and I've even done that with evil. I've even tried to imagine, to get to the root of it, to get to the bottom of it, to understand it, to be able to bring light to it. And there's been times when I have gleaned some of that. But very quickly, I see that it's not the right choice. It's not the choice that leads to happiness or real power. Real power is part of being all that is. Being part of all that is doesn't mean obliteration. It means by being supported by all that is. But it does require a humility where when it's time to surrender, when it's time to sublimate and let go, that one is willing to do that. Instead, now we have people that don't want to die. They want to stay young and beautiful and wealthy forever. And they want to hold on to that power. The only reason they're doing that is because of an erroneous idea about reality. And there becomes this kind of vampirism. And this has been around on the planet for a long time now. And there's been this conspiratorial effort for a group of people, a fraction of the population of the world, to be able to achieve such power at the expense of everyone else, expense of the planet, maybe even beyond the planet. And this evil has gone on for too long, and it's going too far. It needs to come to atonement. It needs to end. It needs to be balanced. I believe that some of us, such as myself and others, have come here as part of that, balancing. And we each have different skills and different capacities. And as I've identified and stated before, I think part of mine is just witnessing, is seeing and feeling. think there's a personal growth in it too. There's something that I gain as well. And it is the ability to do something about it. And for me, that's not easy. It's not easy to both empathize and act, because it's essentially two different perspectives. It is both that masculine and feminine at the same time. I can do one or the other. I think this is kind of the fact of the matter of being in the world, being focused within this framework, is that there's this polarization that occurs, and we see that in gender. The concept of gender and polarity. We associate women, for example, with empathy and sensitivity and feeling, and men with action and doing. Yet I feel called to do both. And I think this is what art is about. This is what magic is about. It's this mixing and blending of these polarities. And this is guardianship of the doorway of creation. This is Tantra. This is shamanic practice and responsibility. There's a guarding and an opening of a doorway. And to be in this role takes a lot of testing and trial. All of the forces pulling, pushing, so it takes a real resilience to hold this poise and navigate this kind of singularity, this portal. And I realized I can't wait for recognition or approval. I'm not going to get that from the world. That's not going to be the source of it. The source has got to be within. And I think this has been with me the whole time. It's been inside of me the whole time. This determination and resilience to be unwavering. To be unaffected by the slings and arrows. And to not be grasping for things of this world. To be able to shrug it all off. To be able to stand on a mountaintop and have the wind blow so hard that It feels like the flesh is being ripped off. So what I feel like right now is that I'm being asked to find that eye of the storm where only the truth remains. All of the erroneous ideas, attachments are all being stripped away. And I appreciate it. I appreciate it because I've had erroneous ideas and attachments that have caused me a lot of pain, a lot of suffering. That I have given my power away to other people, conditions, whereas now I feel that all I want is that connection with truth, with Spirit, with God. That's all I want now. And I trust that God will provide everything else, will know what's best for me. Even if that's the destruction of everything. I believe that my true nature is God. That core being is a fractal, is a hologram, as far as being self-similar. A drop in the ocean and the ocean in a drop. When I tune my mind to that, when I turn my mind to that, I feel this confidence and I feel this sureness. I feel this peace. All of the guilt, the shame, the shoulds, all fall away. I don't accept any narratives of guilt. That I've picked up along the way, that I got in the habit of picking up. Somebody told me at an early point that I should feel bad or should feel guilty, should feel shame. I think we'll feel those things when we disconnect from our heart. Because if we're connected with our heart, we see that anything that we do to ourselves. We can trust in our intuition and our guidance about what we're doing. Maybe we did something that hurt somebody, but it wasn't out of maliciousness. It was out of confusion. And that it's remedied when we return back to that source. Because we see how it fits into the bigger picture, or we're given this sense, this feeling of how it all fits. And that includes whatever is involved in the atonement. And that can include the stripping away of everything that we think we've claimed from the world. Out of this power struggle, all the things that we think we might have claimed from the world, power, wealth, beauty, ownership, all stripped away. It will all be stripped away. And we will be left with the truth. And for some of us, that truth will be very painful. And for others, it will be like a homecoming. It will be like the affirmation we've been waiting for our whole lives. I don't even feel right now feelings of vengeance. I've wrestled with those feelings at different times in my life. I just want things to be set right. I just want it to be recognized how far astray humanity has gone. Want us to come back to living in harmony with nature and the planet and with each other. I know it's possible, and how beautiful it can be when we are. I think because I've known it could be beautiful, I've intuited it, I've imagined it, that's why the discord has been so painful. It seemed like a lot of people don't notice it. They just accept things as normal. They just accept it. They become numb to it. They become blind to it. But I've never become blind to it. I've always been sensitive to it, and it's often hurt me deeply what I've observed in the world, whether it was in my own personal life or in the bigger picture delivered through various means. I felt it in my bones. I felt it in my gut. It's affected my health for much of my life. I think all of that was necessary. I don't even know all that I've learned from the experience. I trust that that will be made clear eventually. But I do have clarity about things. I do feel guidance about my day-to-day. I think certainly in part because I take the time, I create the space for it. I'm not filling up my space with entertainment and distraction and socializing and shopping and all these things that it seems most people do. I love spaciousness. I love quiet. Because in that spaciousness and that quiet, I can feel the truth. I can feel the real. And in doing so, there's a deep satisfaction. And it's almost like there's a battery charging process. There's a connecting and nourishing that happens. And then there's a spark of inspiration where I want to jump up and do something. I think this is the way it's meant to be. You see animals in nature that can just be still, perfectly still for long periods of time, and then suddenly bolt, suddenly move. I think this is reflective of something wise, something natural. It's this ability to dip in to this yin state and gather the resources, gather the nourishment. And then translate that, bring it into the world of action and creation, of doing. We need this ebb and flow. If only we had politicians that meditated. Instead of bickering and arguing like ignoramuses, like the worst kind of immature people. And then is it any wonder why our countries and economies and healthcare and all this stuff is in chaos and shambles? It's almost like it's by design. If only we had a governing body that before every meeting sit in silence, tune inward, listen for wisdom and compassion. Real compassion, not bullshit, woke, psyop garbage. I think the insanity of all that is almost impossible to dismantle. It has to be thrown out completely. It has to be dissolved in the wake of truth, of a higher frequency of consciousness. I think this atonement, this tribulation, this revelation will be an exposing of the world to a higher frequency that just obliterates the lies and the illusion. And so those who are clinging to those lies and illusion are going to be thrown into chaos. Their towers will crumble. And I'm okay with that. I place my life in the hands of God.